Pippa, I mean, this is great. Like, I really want to be on Transatlantic and to have you as a guest. You are a very famous name in the world of advertising. You have been advertising for such a long time, and you are at the helm of one of the best schools in advertising, Miami Art School. So welcome to Transatlantic.
Thank you. It's a very cool project you're doing.
Thank you so
I've
much.
watched a bunch of the shows and I got inspired.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So look, we always say at Transatlantic, like we like to cross people ocean. We believe that each of us is an ocean of erratic thoughts and wild feelings. And I'm sure that your ocean is beautiful. So we're going to cross it. And I'm very happy and excited about. And we're going to ask you like 7 questions like the 7 C's. So let's start with the first one. Are you ready?
Ready.
Good. Okay. Sailing through the night in the middle of the ocean can bring like darkness, stillness. Is a hell of an experience. You had to constantly draw in your mind the direction. You need to know where you're going. It's like drawing the path of your life before you leave your life. Now you sit at the helm of one of the biggest advertising school in the United States globally, Miami Art School. And you have been raising generations and generations of creative for 27 years. Was this the journey that you imagined for yourself when you were a little kid?
At first, no. I thought I was going to be a rabbit trainer.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
You talked about the silliness and crazy ideas. That's what I thought my future would be, my second grade self. I had this amazing rabbit that I had trained, and she and I just had this amazing bond. She was house trained and everything. So that's what I thought my calling was. But when I realized there was literally no jobs in that area, I remember in 7th grade, I was asked to write an essay, and my mother found it the other day, and she called me and read it to me, and it said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "I don't know what it's called, but I want a job where I can be creative and also help people." So I think that pretty early on, I had the finger of my own pulse and kind of had a vision of what I wanted to do. Didn't know what it was, but I knew the direction to go.
What a beautiful answer from a rabbit trainer to the boss of like Miami Art School. That's really a crazy journey. Oh my God.
Rabbit training is a little embarrassing, but
that's a great start, man. That's a great start. Second question. You have 14 schools, if I'm correct, around the world, but you picked Miami as your headquarters. It's in the name, Miami Art School. And it's a fascinating move to me because I don't know if you know it, but Miami is not like any other city in the US. It holds a record. It's actually the very first and only city in the US that was founded by a woman. I don't know if you knew this. And also there is another fun fact about Miami. The Florida current is one of a kind. It results from the movements of the water pushed to the Atlantic into the Caribbean Sea. So even when you look at Miami from underwater, it's a mix of cultures, strong currents. Now bring me back to 1993 when you first set up the very first school in Miami. What was it like?
My husband and I wanted to create the school we wish we had gone to. So we actually considered a lot of cities. But when we went to Miami, it was this amazing, Miami Beach specifically, this amazing mixture of cultures and ideas and sexualities and colors. The buildings were pink and yellow and blue, and it was all Art Deco, and Pavarotti was singing on the beach. And I remember having dinner there the first night, and there were 7 tables in that were people were sitting and eating, and every table spoke a different language. You know, there was Italian and French and Spanish and Hebrew and Portuguese, and it was just really remarkable. And then I walk down the street and there's a girl in rollerblades and a string bikini standing next to a rabbi in full attire. And through one window, there were all of these elderly people in traditional garb doing kind of like Northern European traditional dancing. And we thought, this has to be the place where we go. The first week I went, we were walking by the beach and there were back then it was the center for fashion photography.
Right.
And there were 7 shoots going along Ocean Drive, which is the main drive in the city. And they were all like major fashion photo shoots. And the last one, the woman was totally naked, middle of the day, standing in front of this hot pink wall, and there's the photographer, and then there are like 10 other guys behind the photographer also taking pictures. So it was just another world.
Funny how life works, because in 1993 I started like university in Rome. It was right at the time that I was working actually a little bit with Gianni Versace. And you know, and you mentioned like Ocean Drive and all that, like the 90s were like a flourish periods in Miami, and it was beautiful from like a fashion standpoint view and photography. So thank you so much for the answer. It's awesome.
Yeah, another reason we started there is that we knew we wanted to continue and expand that cross-pollination of ideas and cultures. And we knew that we could invite anybody we wanted to probably in the world that inspired us and say, would you like to come to Miami Beach? And so we always had all sorts of minds there.
Okay, you say no. Okay, let's go for the third question. The Atlantic Ocean accounts for 23.5% of the Earth's oceans. Now let's talk in water terms. It has 82 billion gallons of water. It's actually billion. Now follow me through this analogy. You set up a school to infuse creativity into the ad business. You have thousands of creatives that surround you. So creativity surrounds you like ocean, right? Creativity is your water. Do you ever feel the need to escape to the mountain, meaning like to change the scenario completely and say, I'm done, I want to take a break, just let me do something completely different?
Well, I happen to be in the mountains right now.
Okay,
but I didn't escape here, except from the pandemic. Did not escape here. I love this ocean of creativity that I have the privilege of living in. And in fact, I guess if I used your ocean and water metaphor, it would be that I'm a sponge. I get to be the sponge and then just soak up all of these ideas and influences and perspectives and colors that all of these people come up with. They're
awesome.
It's them that have made the school so terrific, because it incorporates all their perspectives.
It must be amazing. It must be amazing. Here's gonna be, the fourth question is gonna be a little bit hard because we are living through like a very hard moments in life. But anyway, in May 1607, the Susan Constance and 2 other ships made the dangerous voyage of 3,000 miles to go and trying to find spices and gold. But guess what? All they could find was timber, just timber. So they came back completely empty and full with timber. Now, this metaphor applied to a young kid that starting advertising. And as a mentor for like Miami School and like for other like university where we teach advertising, I can see that they start into the business full of hope, thinking that they're gonna leave for a great journey and find gold. And sometimes they find timber, they don't find gold, and their enthusiasm go down. So now, what would you say to these young kids to reignite the enthusiasm, to keep the motivation alive?
I found there are a few ways of doing this. One is there's so many different forms of creativity and careers in it, that sometimes if you lose your passion in one area, it may be showing you you need to switch to um, move into product design or social media or another way, and follow a different path, like evolve. Like most of the creatives I know have moved into different areas as new opportunities came to them in their career. Um, Another thing I've found is that it's really important to surround yourself with positive people. So maybe it's not what you're doing, but it's who you're doing it with. And so maybe by moving to a different company that has more a culture that you fit in more, or that fits you more, and people that are more optimistic, that can also help. So I think those are some of the variations that can help people in their careers.
That's a great answer and a great advice. And I'll definitely gonna like pick up this part of advice and like reshare it like with my students. It's great. This is really good. Okay, fifth question. How far would you go is one of the motto that I've seen painted on one of the walls at the Miami High School, right? It mirrors the mindset of a sailor, of an explorer, someone who takes risks, push boundaries, and welcomes in equal measure adventures and misadventures. Now, I must believe that these words are very familiar to you and they whisper in your ears quite often. So my question for you is, how far would you go with Miami as school?
I can't wait to figure it out. We're always reinventing the school. You know, we we were the first school to ever teach like strategic planning and team those people with art directors and copywriters. And then we created this internship program where students can intern in Tokyo and Chicago and Berlin and Sao Paulo and New York. And so it's, you know, we've for a decade been teaching online and having great speakers that couldn't come to the school physically actually work this way. We just did a hackathon and teamed students. So like a student working in Atlanta was teamed with somebody in Mumbai and their mentor was in Sao Paulo. Again, just to give them all of these different perspectives that you get from all over the world and not just your same community, because it's that broadening of your mind and exposure to different music and art styles and all. Um, we're getting ready to pivot in a big way, actually like leap in a big way. We've just done new branding. It was announced yesterday when the designer who did it won Young Gun of the Year at the one show.
That's
And
awesome.
the new branding is even that way. It's constant motion. And so we're going to be, you know, more global things, working with more clients. We just worked with Netflix and just got off a project with Pepsi, and just things that can make our students better instant profit centers for the companies that hire them, and for the students, allowing them to help them accomplish their career dreams and goals. So it's wherever that will be.
That's beautiful. I mean, like, you know, my first encounter with Miami as school was back in 2005 when I was like working at Jungformat Hamburg, and like one of the best school in Hamburg is like Miami as school Hamburg. And it's funny because from the first get-go, I always thought like, oh, what a strange contrast, like Hamburg, Miami. You really can't wrap your mind around, right? It's like, why is there like something called Miami in Hamburg? But I love the globality mindsets and the constant reinvent yourself like of your school. So this is great. And like, you know, celebration for the new branding. I'm very happy for the guy that did it. Okay. Girl, oh, even better. Like, you know, I'm very happy. I'm very happy for that. So sixth question. Creature that live 1,000 feet below the ocean surface has developed a very special ability to survive. You know, the ocean is filled with like creatures that they really strange, but somehow they can survive. Now, from quality like bioluminescence to special resistance against the extremely high pressure, these species have truly developed a skill, which is like a surviving skills. Now you entered the ocean, or the waters of advertising many years ago. 1993 was the first year of Miami as school. So you have been doing this for quite a while. And it's very rare to find someone that constantly reinvents himself. So how did you manage to survive? And if you did so, what was the most important skills that you needed to have to sustain such a long period of time in this business?
It's one of the most fun things, and that's collaboration.
Good.
So, and I think it's something that we all need in our careers, no matter what, because I was an art director and a creative director before the school. And I tell the students often that you may think that 1 + 1 = 2, but it's not true. 1 + 1 can really equal 3. It's when you aren't alone and you work with somebody else, some magic can happen, and you create more than what you could individually. And so that's really what it is. It's talking to people and, you know, for no reason other than, I find you're fascinating. Can you tell me about this? Or would you like to talk to the students? Or just asking them questions. And creative people are by nature collaborative and curious and interested. And so they're usually super happy to share. And it's
awesome.
it's one of the best things about our industry is all the really fascinating people you get to be with.
That's awesome. That's a great answer. Okay, we arrived. Like I can see the shore. So this is the 7th question, is the question that we ask to all our guests. If there was a wind that blow your sails, what would be the name of the wind?
I know this. The name of my wind is Ron. He's my husband, and he and I have been creative partners in my entire career. And it's definitely that with the two of us, it's 1 + 1 = like 4 or 5. It's really great to riff off of him and laugh and take pictures and do videos and collect dogs. And it's just been a really joyful life. I remember the moment I decided I would marry him. We were having dinner. I remember the restaurant, and I was sitting there and I realized, when I'm with you, I'm better than I am when I'm alone. I'm more me than when I'm alone. And I think I feel so lucky to be married to someone that makes me more myself when I'm with them.
That is awesome. Look, this is the very first time that I meet you in person, and I had to say I was extremely impressed by your journey and like your answers and your story. And I thank you so much for taking the time to be on board with us and for letting me cross your ocean.
I love the concept of your series. So fun, so different, fresh.
Thank you.